was savoring the last sips of my morning coffee, the warmth of the mug comforting in my hands, when my phone buzzed with a message that would change everything. It was from my mother, and her words hit like a cold wave. "Emma, please don't come to the graduation tomorrow. The kids are scared of you, and James doesn't want any drama. We need to respect their feelings." I stared at the screen, my hand trembling slightly as I set down my cup. Scared of me? The aunt who had secretly funded Amy and Michael's entire college education for the past 4 years? The irony was almost unbearable. My name is Emma Sullivan, and at 38, I had just been uninvited from my niece and nephew's college graduation, the very milestone I had made possible through years of quiet sacrifice. 4 years ago, my brother James faced a devastating blow. His company downsized, leaving him jobless, with mounting debts threatening to crush his family's dreams. His twins, Amy and Michael, had just been accepted into prestigious universities, Amy to study marine biology, Michael to pursue computer science. But without financial stability, their futures hung in the balance. I remember the night James called me, his voice thick with despair. "I failed them, Emma," he sobbed. "They worked so hard, and I can't even give them this." He never asked for help, his pride wouldn't allow it, but I heard the heartbreak in his words. That night, I made a decision. I contacted the university's financial aid offices and arranged to cover Amy and Michael's tuition anonymously. I had built a successful career, and my investments had flourished. Living modestly, I could afford to help. These were my brother's children, my family. How could I not step in? For 4 years, I stayed silent, watching from afar as Amy and Michael thrived, their achievements shared through my parents' proud updates. But somewhere along the way, things changed. James's wife, Karen, began spreading stories about me. She painted me as unstable, a woman who lived alone and didn't fit her rigid idea of what a proper family woman should be. Once, Amy and Michael adored their cool Aunt Emma, who attended their school plays and cheered at their soccer games. But Karen's whispers turned their affection into distance. My mother's next message only deepened the wound. "You understand, right? Karen says the kids need positive energy for their special day. Maybe we can send you pictures." Pictures? As if I were a distant relative, not the aunt who had invested over $200,000 in their futures. My father's message followed, gentle but firm. "Princess, please don't make this difficult. James is finally getting back on his feet, and the kids are doing so well. Let's not stir up any issues." Each word felt like a betrayal, a dismissal of everything I had done. I walked to my home office, my heart heavy, and opened the drawer where I kept every record of my contributions, payment confirmations, thank you letters from the universities acknowledging the anonymous donor who had supported 2 promising students. For 4 years, I had smiled through family dinners as James and Karen took credit for their financial sacrifices. I nodded when Karen boasted about their budgeting skills, all while knowing the truth. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Karen herself. "Emma, I'm glad Mom told you about tomorrow. The kids need stability right now, and your presence would only upset them. I'm sure you understand, given your situation." My situation, a code for being single, successful, and unapologetically independent. I had heard the whispers at family gatherings, seen Karen pull the twins closer when I approached, as if my independence was a threat. My fingers hovered over my keyboard. One email could change everything. One message to the financial aid office, requesting they acknowledge my contribution at the graduation ceremony, as they did for major donors. But was I ready for the chaos that would follow? Ready to see the shock on their faces when they learned the truth about the aunt they had pushed away? Another message from my mother lit up my phone. "Emma, please confirm you won't come tomorrow. James is worried you might show up anyway." That was the moment I made my choice. Silence wasn't golden, it was enabling bad behavior. It was time for my family to know the truth about their unstable aunt and her role in the graduation caps Amy and Michael would wear. I arrived at the university an hour before the ceremony, not as a guest, but as a donor attending the pre-ceremony reception. The financial aid director, Ms. Thompson, greeted me warmly. "Ms. Sullivan, we're so pleased you finally decided to be recognized. Your generous contribution has made such a difference. Both Amy and Michael have been exceptional students. I smiled, accepting the VIP badge she handed me, the irony not lost on me. Will the donor acknowledgement still be part of the ceremony? I asked. Of course, she replied. You'll be recognized right before the engineering and science graduates, which includes your niece and nephew. As the ceremony began, I spotted my family entering the auditorium. My mother, perfectly poised, my father in his best suit, James and Karen beaming with pride, oblivious to what was coming. The twins walked ahead, their graduation robes crisp and new. My phone buzzed with one final message from Karen. Emma, security has been notified that you're not welcome. Don't make a scene. I glanced at my VIP badge and smiled. Security wouldn't be an issue today. The ceremony proceeded with the dean's speech and the valedictorian's address, building toward the moment I both dreaded and anticipated. Miss Thompson took the podium, her voice clear and confident. Before we present degrees, we'd like to acknowledge a special donor whose generosity has transformed our university community. 4 years ago, this individual stepped forward to fully support 2 of our brightest students. My family listened politely, unaware of what was coming. This donor, who chose to remain anonymous until today, has contributed over $200,000 to ensure these students could pursue their dreams without financial burden. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Emma Sullivan. The applause began, then faltered as confusion spread through my family section. I stood, straightening my jacket, and walked to the podium. Karen's face paled, James's jaw dropped, and my parents froze in their seats. Ms. Thompson continued, Ms. Sullivan's generous donation has fully funded the education of 2 exceptional students in our graduating class today, Amy and Michael Crawford. The twins' expressions shifted from confusion to shock as the truth sank in. All those years of believing their parents had scraped by to fund their education, all those times they were told to avoid their unstable aunt, it was unraveling in front of hundreds of people. I stepped to the microphone, my voice steady despite my pounding heart. Education has always been close to my heart, I began, sticking to the speech I had prepared. When I saw 2 brilliant young minds at risk of missing their dreams due to financial hardship, I knew I had to act. I chose anonymity because their achievements should take center stage, not my contribution. I paused, meeting Amy and Michael's eyes. I've watched with immense pride as these students excelled in their fields. Today isn't about me. It's about their hard work, their dedication, and their limitless futures. Congratulations, class of 2025. The applause was thunderous, but I barely heard it. I was watching my family. Karen buried her head in her hands. James stared at the floor, and my parents looked as if they'd seen a ghost. Amy and Michael, however, gazed at me with a mix of confusion, gratitude, and dawning understanding. As I returned to my seat, my phone lit up with messages. My mother, Emma, why didn't you tell us? My father, Princess, we had no idea. James, we need to talk. Karen, how dare you embarrass us like this? I ignored them all. This moment wasn't about their feelings or their embarrassment. It was about truth, about consequences, and about showing my niece and nephew that the aunt they had been taught to fear had always been their greatest supporter. As the ceremony ended and graduates tossed their caps into the air, I prepared to leave. I had said what needed to be said, revealed what needed to be revealed. But then, something unexpected happened. Amy broke away from her family, still in her graduation gown, and walked toward me. Michael hesitated, then followed. Aunt Emma, Amy's voice was soft, uncertain. Can we talk? I nodded, leading them to a quiet spot under a tree. Tears glistened in Amy's eyes. Why? Michael asked. Why did you do it, and why didn't you tell us? I took a deep breath. Because you deserve the opportunity to chase your dreams, and I didn't tell you because I wanted you to focus on your studies, not feel obligated to me. Amy started, but Mom said, she stopped, embarrassed. That I was unstable, dangerous, a bad influence, I finished gently. Tell me, looking back, did I ever do anything to deserve those labels? They shook their heads, memories flooding back, birthday parties I'd organized, science projects I'd helped with, the countless times I'd shown up before Karen deemed me a threat. Karen's sharp voice cut through the air. Amy, Michael, get away from her right now. But for the first time, neither twin obeyed. No, Mom, Amy said, turning to face her approaching parents. We're done letting you control our relationship with Aunt Emma. Karen reached for Amy's arm, but she pulled away. She manipulated this whole situation. Karen hissed. She humiliated our family. Michael's voice was steady. The only person who should be humiliated is you. You lied about Aunt Emma for years, made us fear her, when all along she was making our dreams possible. My parents joined us, my mother wringing her hands nervously. Perhaps we should discuss this at home, she suggested. There's nothing to discuss, I said calmly. I helped Amy and Michael because I love them. I kept it anonymous to avoid drama. But when you banned me from their graduation, I decided the truth needed to come out. James, silent until now, finally spoke. Emma, I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything, I replied. But you need to know things will be different now. I won't be the family scapegoat anymore, labeled unstable just because I don't fit Karen's mold. Amy and Michael moved to stand beside me, a gesture that spoke louder than words. Karen's face contorted with fury, but Amy interrupted. Mom, Dad, we're having dinner with Aunt Emma tonight. We have 4 years of catching up to do and a lot of thank yous to say. Michael nodded in agreement. As we walked away, leaving my stunned family behind, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Over dinner at my favorite restaurant, Amy and Michael shared stories of their college years, their dreams for the future, and their regret for believing the lies about me. We laughed, we cried, and we began rebuilding the bond Karen had tried to destroy. As we finished dessert, Amy looked at me thoughtfully. Mom always said you were dangerous because you'd influence us to be different. I think that's exactly what we needed. Michael nodded. Different is good. Different is what got us through college. Different is what made you strong enough to help us, even when everyone pushed you away. Later, as I drove home, my phone buzzed with a final message from my father. Princess, I'm sorry. We should have seen through Karen's lies, should have protected you. You're the best of us, and we forgot that. I smiled, not responding. Sometimes, the best endings aren't about forgiveness or reconciliation with everyone. They're about standing in your truth, holding your ground, and letting the right people find their way back to you. Amy and Michael had found their way back, and for now, that was enough. Please feel free to comment below if you liked this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.